Fake Uni says, excellent insight. All right, so this is the ultimate class tier list for 2024 for PvE. So guys, you've been waiting for a PvE tier list for a while. Kendaya is goated at this. He is super good at this because he goes to every single member of the community that is known for PvE on their class, and he asks them their opinion on their class in PvE. So like you get like a really in-depth like look at how the classes all work in PvE. And this is really good. He did it. The last one he did on this, absolutely specimen. I wanted to wait a few days to react to it. It has 54,000 views in 5 days. Kendaya is an absolute unit. That's true. The only downside to the Kendaya tier list is that you have to actually read, which I understand is a deal breaker for a lot of people, and I'm here to save you because I'm going to read it for you.
Hello guys, welcome to my channel. I hope everything's okay in your life. In this video, I will be sharing the 2024 PvE class tier list with you.
Am I crazy? Or did he spell album wrong?
You're in luck for listening to the explanation part.
Tragic.
As you will get better understanding of how this tier list was prepared and the criteria.
No, that's just the EU way of spelling it, guys. Don't worry, it's like color and color, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for the rankings. Let's dive into the details without further ado. As you know, there was a major PvE update at the end of the 2023 that completely shook up the game's balance. The developers' goal was to bring every class up to the level of Woosa succession. However, I must say that they largely failed to achieve this. Their biggest mistake was that they didn't focus on the chronic issues of the classes first and opting for damage increases later, rather than initially providing substantial damage boosts to all classes and hoping to success by making minor quality of life changes to some. We are facing a new PvE meta, and believe me, the current situation is quite different, a little bit worse from before.
I would kind of disagree with him. I think their goal was to basically bring everyone up to like a reasonable level in PvE because some classes were unplayable. Never mind. I agree with him. I'm like I think of like Awakening Corsair and like Succession Nova, and those classes just like, dude, like I don't know, they're just not that great. Like Awakening Corsair you can technically make work at some grind spots, but like it just doesn't measure up to like again a Woosa.
Tier list was created through extensive consultation with the experienced classmasters who have dedicated years to the
Awakening Nova and Suck Witch are above everyone else. Yeah, but it's okay because I actually play that class.
Game and their respective classes. I reached out of over 110 classmasters and about 90 of them responded. I asked them to evaluate their classes' performance through a Google survey, which resulted in easily trackable and understandable average data.
Oh yeah, he sent me this like this is like what, this survey or whatever. It took like 4 minutes to fill out and it took me 4 days to get it done. I did one question a day.
Based on these data, I created a page for each class, and you can see an example page on the screen right now. On the left side of screen, evaluations are divided into 3 stages: early, mid, and end game. In the previous tier,
yeah, dude, he actually came into my stream one day and was like, "Blue, you're the only one that hasn't responded yet. Could you please respond?" And I was like, "Gosh."
There was also a performance category for Black Shrine bosses, but due to the latest
all right, so you guys can see there's a lot of reading. All right, I'm gonna do it for you guys, okay?
Patches, all classes can now easily defeat Black Shrine bosses, so I have temporarily removed that category. On the other side of the screen,
Death Grip didn't get consulted for Dark Knight. Eat it.
You will find general assessments from the classmasters about the classes that they
play. PvPer, bro.
I realized that some pages have lots of information and details, but remember that the experience of these
he blurred it. It's a spoiler.
Classmasters have gathered over years and presented to us in summary form is an invaluable resource.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. He's absolutely right. The class masters that he reached out to have been playing their classes for years, and the information in this video is just top tier. Top tier. I did the exact same thing for my choose your class guides, and that's why the choose your class guides have like 850,000 views on them. Like, it's because that information, the information in those videos is just like that's what like the people that have been playing the classes for thousands of hours, that's like their opinion on the class. And like it's just such relevant information. It's just so good, right? And like that's what he's done here. This is such a massive project for him, and I absolutely love that he does this.
Recommend reading about the classes that interest you one by one. If you take time to read all of them, you will learn a great deal about the class's PvE performance. As for the
No one is going to do that but me, so I'm going to help you guys.
basis of evaluation, it's important to know that there are many variables in the game and, correspondingly, many spots to consider. Therefore, I have categorized the performance of the classes into early, mid, and endgame segments to make it easier to understand how classes perform at different stages of the game. Early game spot means 0 to 250 AP, one-shot type of spots like Gahaz, Sulfur, Plaku, Naga, Fogan, Poly, and etc. Mid-game spots means 250 to 300 AP spots, mostly Unity.
I don't think that mid-game spots are 250 AP to 300. I think mid-game spots are like 281 to 301.
Aggro or pull them
But okay.
with a decent DPS like Starzend, Akman, Histria, Tonewood, Sakraya, Kratuga, Orc, Bloody Monastery, Giants, Rutum, Sauna,
And again, guys, this is your AP with Kudamon.
and etc. Endgame spots means mostly you need high DPS and special combos, special add-ons, special lightstones, special type of gameplay for these type of spots like
True.
Kaifin, Darksika Street, Tungrat Ruins, Crypt, Dekia spots like Olun, Ash, Tro, Tonewood, Akman, Histria, Quint Hills, Hexa Sanctuary, and etc. The survey featured ratings out of 10. You are currently viewing the tiers on the
All right, one thing I will say for Kendai is last time he had like S minus, S, S plus, and S plus plus, and like every class was S tier, and you're like, what? This time at least he's got like a full list.
corresponding
He still got
points.
2
The
S tiers, so he just couldn't help himself.
tier corresponds to scores between 9.5 to 10.
Mid game 300 AP. I think mid game 301 AP is like that's like the start of like late game, right? So when you say he goes to 301 AP, I think that's reasonable.
Representing the most dominant and unquestionable strongest classes in the game. The S tier means with the scores of 8, 8.5 and the 9. The S tier with scores of 8, 8.5 and 9 showcases a very powerful classes that excel in PvE and will not disappoint you. The A tier includes scores of 6, 6.5 and 7 and 7.5, indicating classes with the average to slightly above average performance. The B corresponding to scores of 5 and 5.5, denoting classes that fall below average and have significantly weaker performance.
Okay, so B is below average, guys. B for dog shit.
The C tier with scores 4 and 4.5 represents the classes with very poor performance. The D tier includes classes scoring 3 and below, which are incredibly underperforming classes. Or
Suck Nova.
you can say them almost unplayable. I assume you understand how the evaluation is conducted. If you have listened to the explanations up to this point in the video, consider yourself fortunate, as 90% of the viewers will likely skip this part and ask irrelevant questions or misunderstand in the comments.
Bro, you can't say that, bro. Now they know. Like, you're like breaking the fourth wall now, bro. It's, of course they're not actually gonna watch the video. That's how my comments work too, dude. Like they just read the title and then they comment on the video. That's how it works, man.
It's also crucial to grasp the following. For example, you see the ninja class on the screen with high scores for its succession. However, please pay attention to the difficulty part. You can only achieve these high scores if you play this very challenging class at full performance, which means you will start to unlock its potential after you have adapted to the difficulty.
There is no shot that Succession Ninja is a 9.5 out of 10 at endgame spots. No way.
Difficulty level and fully understood the class, so please also be aware of difficulty part in every class. The preparation of this video took about a week. I must extend a big thank you to all class masters. Without them, I couldn't have compiled these datas. Accessing their years of experience with just a click is a fantastic privilege, isn't it? I also kindly request that you refrain from the disrespecting anyone.
I can't believe he got people to respond that fast. It literally took like 6 months for me. It took at least 3 months for me to get everyone's responses for my Choose Your Class Guide videos.
One in the comments, whether it be class masters or each other. At the end of the video, you will find 3 different summary tier lists presented in a table format. Before moving on to the last part, can you please stop the video right now to subscribe channel, like the video, leave a comment, and
he already lost him. The second he was like, yo, there's a table at the end, everybody was just like, all right, let's scroll to the end of the video. Like,
do not forget to
you gotta say the subscribe first, then say that.
Share it on your Discord channels. I hope you guys like my contents. Do not forget, video is just a game. Have a nice game.
All right, now it begins. All right, here we go. All right, I'm gonna put you guys. I don't normally do this. I'm gonna put you guys in the middle because I don't think that. All right. So he has Zirdan, and then I can't Rodon, Wistdropper, and then these 2 other people, Grubby and then whatever that is. All right, okay. So he's saying Succession Warrior 9 out of 10 early game, 9 out of 10 mid game, 8.5 out of 10 late game, and then it's really easy. I would generally agree with this. I don't think it's really. I think early game. Actually agree with that. I think it's actually pretty goated early game. Because it's such low APM, it's got really wide mobility. I mean, it's got really wide AoE, so like doing centaurs with Succession Warrior is, which makes it really good at like the low end spot. I agree with that. End game, sure. This is really high, but like, okay, sure, yeah, all right. Again, like, what do I know about it? I've never grinded, but like, Awakening 6 out of 10 early, mid game 7, end game 7 out of 5. Difficulty hard. So yeah, I completely agree with this. Like, I think that it's definitely hard difficulty late game for this, and this is really easy. This is the part that players really need to focus on. And Succession Warrior is just, generally speaking, better in PvE. I would agree with that, but let's see what they said. Rodon said, the class is relatively easy to start with, but it is certainly difficult to master. Succession Warrior is relatively easier to control and has a bit more reliable AoE. Awakening, in this case, deals similar damage, but more in bursts, also with smaller AoE. Both specs have a medium damage compared to the best classes right now. In this case, Succession has a good bit, or has a good toolkit that allows for players to do it a bit easier in PvE. All right. I mean, he said that it's worse endgame than some of the other top classes, which, I don't know, man. That's pretty hard. That's pretty high up there. Zirdan says, all comments specified for PvE. Succession has a high defense and AoE modifiers compared to its Awakening counterpart, making it more efficient at all levels of the game. Additionally, Awakening requires much higher APM, making it a lot more work for less payoff. The Awakening class falls off very hard at endgame grind spots, and this is very noticeable in Ulukita. You can do better in Succession with less gear than in Awakening. I think that's good insight, absolutely. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do, because this is just a panning shot. We're just gonna go to the next class. Here is Sorceress. Oh my god, bro. Shit. There is so much text here. This is crazy. Alright. Alright, Succession early game 4 out of 10, mid game 6 out of 10, end game 7 out of 10. I wouldn't even put it that high. To be honest with you, I wouldn't even. A difficulty hard. That's a fair. Yep, I think that's fair. Awakening 6 out of 10, mid game 6 out of 10, end game 9.5 out of 10. Very hard. 9.5 out of 10 for Awakening Sork in the end game. Yikes, dude. I don't know, man. That's like Succession Witch, like quality grinding. But we'll see here. Let's see what they say. He consulted Arupero, JM, Massilis, Gameru, and Salam Sru. I know Mac out of this list. I apologize. I don't know the remainders here, but Jam says, understand your area or your AoE. Proper positioning is crucial for Awakening. Arupero says, Succession Sork struggles with mobility and damage, resulting in high effort for low reward. Awakening Sork offers improved mobility, but is still not exceptional. However, it excels in both burst damage and consistent damage, making it most effective in the endgame where mobility is less crucial. Massless, everyone's favorite streamer Sork. Super fun class with plenty of cancels to master, suitable for mid to high APM, also very aesthetically pleasing. He just couldn't help himself, bro. If you stand in idle and stare at her, never mind. She's great. She's great for that content. Highly recommended for those aiming for the class mastery and skill expression. Gameru says, Succession. Unfortunately, in contrast to her awakening, the recent buffs had little impact on Succession. The class still suffers from one of the worst mobility in the game, making it quite tedious in any location that requires even a minimal amount of movement. While her burst combo is impressive, her performance drops off significantly when sustained DPS is needed. Surprisingly, the class still maintains a 0% accuracy rate in its most crucial skills. She's not terrible, just average and cumbersome to use in 80% of grind zones. Well, I would say that that's pretty bad. I would say that that's like B tier. Yeah, like that's pretty rough, bro. Awakening. Similar to her Succession, she's quite cumbersome to use at any low, mid, and content due to her movement, stamina issues, lack of AoE. However, she excels in high-end areas that don't require big AoE, Darkseekers, Tungrad Ruins, etc. She is noticeably superior to Succession in these scenarios. And then Salem Screw said, unless you are particularly fond of the mage assassin aspect, it's best to avoid it. All these other people were like, yeah, dude, here's my honest thoughts about the game. And then Salem was like, just don't, man. All right, let's see what they had to say about, let's see what they said about range. Oh my God, bro. Holy shit. This is a lot. This is a lot. Succession Ranger, 9 out of 10 early game. Mid game 6 out of 10, end game 5 out of 10, difficulty medium. Ludi, get out of here, bro. It's difficult. Awakening, 7 out of 10 early game. Generally agree with that for sure. Mid game 6 out of 10, end game 8.5 out of 10, difficulty hard. I agree. These are pretty good numbers. Pretty good numbers. I don't know if I 9 out of 10 early game. Yeah, sure, it has big AoE. Sure, I guess. Yeah, okay, I can see it. We'll see what they say. They consulted IU, Rylock, Ludi, and Angel XZ. Okay. Let's see. IU says, well, the first thing about Succession Ranger is that it's not the worst, but it's not a top grinder either. While Succession Ranger can successfully outgrind the endgame areas, you're generally better off playing a different class because you simply do not pull close to the same trash loot as better classes in PvE. So, in the long run, you'll make a significantly less money playing Succession Ranger than, let's say, either a Witch Specs or either of the Witch Specs, for example. Whoa, why you gotta single us out, bro? Early and mid-game areas, you perform well, but it falls off quite a bit harder spots. Oh, quite a bit at harder spots. All right, my bad. Awakening Ranger has potential to generate a good amount of damage in areas that do not require large area of effect or top-tier movement between packs. However, it should be noted that to fully unlock the potential of Awakening Ranger, you will need to have, in comparison to most other classes, extremely high APM. This is actions per minute, guys. How many clicks and buttons you're pressing per minute, which can become very tiring for your hands and may eventually lead to repetitive strain injury, RSI. Oh my goodness. Let's see what Ludi has to say. Although Succession Ranger excels in early game with the current spam at places like Poly's Forest, Succession Ranger is below average in high-level spots because of its lack of AoEs on our highest-hitting PvE skills. Additionally, she faces challenges in spots with long pack-to-pack distance due to her limited mobility. Yeah, that's why I think that she's not quite a 9 out of 10 even at early game spots, is because, like, early game spots require you to have crazy mobility and AoE. She's got AoE, just not both. But who am I to say it? Rylock, Succession Ranger is effective for early game PvE where the AoE abilities can carry the specialization. However, it tends to become average or slightly below average in the end game grind zones because of the tanky nature of the mobs and the difficulty in utilizing back attacks compared to Awakening Ranger. On the other hand, Awakening Ranger is relatively average and slightly below average in early game spots due to the lack of AoE abilities. Nevertheless, Awakening Ranger becomes slightly better than average at end game spots due to its ability to easily utilize back attacks and having access to short cooldown timers. Generally agree for sure. Angel XZ says, don't choose Suck Ranger for PvE, you will regret it. Why is the last guy on every class always some doom and gloom person, bro? The Sorc guys just like, don't. Angel's like, get the f out of here, bro. Don't even bother. Like, she is only effective at early to mid game. Awakening is enjoyable and engaging to grind with. She has high DPS, although not the highest. she requires high APM to perform well at certain points, she can be very effective. In those situations, you can usually achieve 90 to 95% efficiency compared to top PvE classes. However, in other situations, she might leave you disappointed and annoyed due to the lack of movement and or AoE. Okay, right on. So they're all saying basically the same thing, except that Angel was just like, just don't. This is how much Berserkers give a shit about their class, bro. This is how much Berserkers actually care about their class, man. The other classes have like look at, there's a documentary written about Sork and Ranger. You get to Berserker and you get this one-liner from Steve that is literally, you know, he's high as a kite, and he's just like, Awakening Zerk has a huge learning curve, just the PvE, PvP on it with very high APM. And that's it. That's all you get. Nothing else. Succession, 10 out of 10 early game, mid game 8 out of 10, end game 7.5 out of 10. Difficulty, very easy. Agree with all that. End game might be a little lower, to be honest, on current patch. I think it's actually not super great, but we'll see. Awakening, early game 7 out of 10, mid game 9 out of 10, end game 9 out of 10. Difficulty, very hard. I would agree with these numbers as a general rule. I think 9 is just a little bit high, but like all of the classes are scaled up like really high. So like 9's fine, as we've seen from other classes, I suppose. That's just funny. Like again, like look at the Berserker text, and then look at Tamer, bro. Look at the different. No one gives a shit. Giving too much of a shit, but like it. All right, so Tamer, we got Sneaky, Canna, and Shaytona. Shaytona. Succession, 7.5 out of 10 early game, 9 out of 10 mid game, 8.5 out of 10 end game. Difficulty hard. Whoa, hard. I don't know. I would say medium difficulty for Succession Tamer. It's really not that bad. Awakening though, Awakening's hard, bro. Like let's see what the Awakening early game 7 out of 10, mid game 8 out of 10, end game 8.5 out of 10, difficulty hard. There's no way that you're gonna put Succession and Awakening Tamer both at hard. Awakening is definitely much more difficult than Succession, especially in PvE. And I've played it, but like, yeah, Suck Tamer is easy. Yeah, like I don't understand how we got. Yeah, I don't understand how we got to like hard difficulty for Suck Tamer, bro. Like, is Kandaya precise on his stream that the grades on the classes are given based on full efficiency gameplay. Again, you're comparing Succession Tamer full efficiency to Awakening Ninja full efficiency, right? It's just not even the same. Like you can't say that it's that hard compared to the other classes in the game. If you want to try to say that, then every class in the game is going to be hard difficulty. Like if you're trying to min-max peak efficiency, even Succession Berserker can look a little harder. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Let's see what they said. Sneaky. It's not a beginner-friendly class if you're not familiar with it. That's true. The low AoE skills make her quite ineffective despite how fast and with low cooldowns they are. It's hard to determine if she's easy or difficult to play. As I've been using her continuously for 7 years. Okay, so he has no frame of reference. All right, I like that he said that. At least he admitted, yeah, I don't really have a frame of reference. This is the only class that I play. That's fair. Okay. However, the combination of low AoE, low cooldown skills, and short animation requires very high APM in both stances. She's a class only for those who know how to play and want to grind decently with a class they like. She will never be the best at any grinding spot in the game. I don't know if that's necessarily fair. I think she's actually a pretty good grinder, bro. Like it's a 8.5 out of 10 is a really good grinder. She's not necessarily the best, but she's definitely in the A tier, right? Like this. Kana, Succession is pretty effective in PvE, while Awakening is beneficial, but extremely challenging. Yeah, see, like Kana agrees with me. Right? Awakening is definitely more challenging than Succession. So no matter where you put Succession, Awakening should be higher. That's my problem with this. If you want to call Succession hard, that's okay, but then Awakening has to be very hard, at least in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so Shaytona says, Awakening Tamer has one of the has had one reoccurring issue with its playstyle, area of effect. before the recent PvE buffs and after, Awakening has decent damage, but the AoE for some of the larger skills is barely sufficient to hit packs of mobs close together at endgame spots. This makes spots like Tungrad Ruins very challenging to master due to the need for near perfect positioning. Unlike most classes nowadays, the lack of AoE also makes mid-game quite difficult due to her need for knowledge and pulling movement and preventing mobs from aggroing while killing another pack, which leads to stragglers. Then you have to go out of your way to kill them because they take up aggro and can't be killed while the next with another pack at times. That is true. That is a problem on Tamer for sure. I completely agree. I think that if they buff the AoE on both specs of Tamer, it would not be a big deal in PvP, but it would be a massive deal in PvE. Completely agree. The only way that Awakening can be relevant in the current metagame and catch up with other classes at niche spots, is the small AoE, is by having damage equivalent to the higher damage classes like Witch and Wizard. Despite all of the downsides, you won't find the class that's both more... Whoa. Despite the downsides, you won't find a class that is both more satisfying and fun to play. It's why I haven't ever switched from the class after 4 years. It is an incredibly satisfying class to play. I will say that I've played Tamer, and I would agree with what they're saying. I agree. I just don't understand. I don't understand how these two are equal. Awakening is definitely harder than Succession. At least in my experience, my limited experience with the class. And then that's what they basically were saying in their things too. So, all right, Musa. So Musa, Carstels, you know, it's a shame he didn't reach out to Azure here. That's tragic. Carstels and Crims, though, are great Musas, so that'll work. Succession, 8.5 out of 10 early, mid-game 8 out of 10, end-game 8 out of 10, difficulty hard. Fine, okay. If you have Suck Tamer is hard, Suck Musa, definitely, okay. All right, sure. Believe it or not, Suck Musa actually has, like, a reasonable APM difficulty level. Like, a lot of people don't know very much about Suck Musa, so they don't understand it as much. But, like, if you're going to put Suck Tamer as hard, Suck Musa, I would say Suck Musa is definitely harder than Suck Tamer is. But, like, again, I'm not an expert on either class. Awakening, early game 9.5 out of 10, mid game 8 out of 10, end game 7 out of 10, difficulty easy. Yeah, for sure. It's definitely better at early game spots because its AoE is stronger. Carstel says, Awakening Musa PvE is easy to learn and yields good results throughout the early and mid game. However, in the end game, Awakening Musa requires very high APM and may not perform as well as other classes in PvE. Nevertheless, you can still achieve decent results in any grinding area with this class. Ultimately, I always advise players to choose a class that they enjoy grinding with. Absolutely good advice. If you are content with your results, that is truly what matters. Best of luck. Goated response from Carstels. I completely agree. Crims, overall, both specs have very good damage and easy, consistent mobility, making the class better than average for PvE. Awakening, easy to play with and jump into, while with solid AoE on skills and manageable cooldowns. However, it lacks sustainable high DPS uptime and falls off in scaling as the game progresses. It offers a good amount of versatility and skill expression. That's actually really well said. I like the way that he said that. Yeah, absolutely. Succession. This spec has higher APM, but is rewarded with more damage than Awakening. It lacks the AoE, but has good scaling with more gear. The passive Serene Mind, the blue buff, allows consistent use of skills, giving it high sustainable DPS. It has okay skill expression and versatility. Both specs are strongest in different areas or grind spots due to their inherent attributes. True. Yeah, good. Absolutely. What's the next one? Oh boy, here's the Maehwas. Oh boy, oh my god, he didn't consult Neptunes. Oh, he's gonna be pissed. Oh, he's gonna be so mad. That's okay, they consulted all of the good Maehwas. Sorry, buddy. So they consulted Akari Sayo, Sad Llama, Quancy, and Limex. A literal duck made it onto the list before Neptunes did. Tragic. Succession, early game, 8 out of 10. Mid game, 7 out of 10. End game, 8 out of 10. Difficulty, easy. Awakening, early game, 9 out of 10. Mid game, 8 out of 10. End game, 8.5 out of 10. Difficulty, hard. I don't think that the early game is 9 out of 10. I think it's more like an 8. Mainly because the AoE makes it really hard on Awakening. But I'm not the expert. 9 out of 10 could be accurate. I agree generally with the Succession. Maybe it's a little worse than this, to be honest. It might be a little bit worse. It might be like 7.5, but like it's right in there. Akari Sayo says, if you want to have an easier time grinding without going too crazy on trash mobs, play Suck Maehwa. Awakening Maehwa requires higher APM, but offers bigger rewards. Okay, so it's like Witch then, right? If you're lazy and don't care, you play Awakening Witch because you just, low APM, easy, right? But if you want like the higher APM part of the class, you play Succession Witch. It's like flipped. Sad Llama, decent class overall, but the comboing is boring due to long cooldowns. There are not many players on the class, making it difficult to learn from others. However, it still performs decently in the current meta spots for mid game. Orcs 30k yellow, Giants 35k yellow, and we love Kratuga. Okay. End game spot performance could possibly be an 8 in AoE heavy spots. Sure. Yeah, see, that's exactly what, didn't I say that? I said that for low end spots too, though. Quancy says quack, 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 which I hate him. Succession Maehwa is relatively easy class to pick up, with many PvE skills being spammable and easy on the hands, making it very comfortable for grinding. While you may encounter stamina issues at pack-to-pack spots, Succession Maehwa excels its single target spots, especially those where you can focus on back attacks, especially Olin's Valley, Quint Hill, Elvia, and Gyfin Underground. Awakening Maehwa is a more challenging class, requiring more APM, actions per minute, compared to her Succession counterpart. There's a lack of spammable skills that flow well into each other, so it is important to know your combos and pay close attention to your add-ons you want to use to optimize your grind. Sorry guys, I read that funky. She excels at pack-to-pack spots and areas where you might need a little more AoE to maximize your damage output. Okay. Both Succession Maehwa and Awakening Maehwa's skills work in a similar manner. Skills that lunge you forward for your damage, and skills that only throw you out where out where you're looking in front of you. Okay, so be mindful of your positioning to maximize your damage. In other words, you need to have your opponent directly in front of you at all times because her AoE isn't big enough, like an Awakening Musa's, for example. Okay, so Valkyrie. All right, so he consulted Ares, Raiden GTR, Larry Fish, and military. Raiden's an Awakening Valkyrie. Larry's a Succession Valkyrie. I'm not sure what Ares and military are, but we'll see. Succession, early game, 3 out of 10. Oh, it's so bad. Early game Succession Valkyrie grind is really tough, man. Like, the mobility is just, it's so clunky and tough to use. Mid game, 5 out of 10. End game, 5 out of 10. Difficulty, easy. Yeah, it doesn't get crazy better. It doesn't really get a whole lot better, does it? Awakening, early game, 6 out of 10. Mid game, 8 out of 10. End game, 7 out of 10. Difficulty, hard. Agree. The difficulty is probably very hard, but like, yeah. Like, putting it in the same class as like a Suck Tamer, I don't know. I feel like it's a little tougher than Suck Tamer, but splitting hairs. Ares says Awakening Valkyrie offers high APM grinding with moderate results. Her limited AoE size only makes the class somewhat viable in single target spots like Gyfin and Quintil. In comparison, Succession has good AoE size skills but lacks damage, as well as having little to no base accuracy and terrible movement, essentially rendering Succession useless for early to mid game grinding. Agree. Overall, it's unfortunately a really bad choice for PvE in Awakening and Succession. It's better to just switch to a meta class. Okay, that's bad. Okay, I do not like it when people just say, just play a different class, idiot. I hate it when people say that. But he's not wrong. When it comes to Succession, you should just switch to Awakening. I think that Awakening is actually a really super solid, viable option in most aspects of the game. It's definitely harder, though, and requires higher APM. But like, I think it's definitely super viable. You're running middle of the pack to above middle of the pack for sure. But we'll see. Raiden says grinding on this class is decent at mid to higher game spots, but the APM can get pretty high. Not quite Awakening Nova, but it's definitely up there. Yes, that's why I said I think that Awakening needs to be like very hard, but yeah. Military says Suck Valk lacks the movement to excel in one-shot spots. Her DPS is underwhelming for mid and end game situation, which is why her ranking is 4 to 5 overall. Awakening Valkyrie has the movement to perform well at one-shot spots. Mid and end-game performance becomes decent with the proper skill rotation. Gyfin and Tungrat are really good because the monster's mechanics allow her to shine. I completely agree with military. I think that's an accurate assessment. Like that's, and again, I think that, yeah, I think Ares is like pick a different class, and military's like, no, Awakening's super fine. Succession just sucks. And I would agree with that assessment overall. Absolutely. Let's see what wizard. All right. Oh, Huntler and Kosini. Huntler doesn't grind, but you know what? He's the only succession wizard that we know that literally consistently plays the class, so it is a W. Kosini is like the best awakening wizard that we've ever seen in the game. If you guys don't know him, the dude's an absolute monster. If you're in like they worship him in like the class Discord. It's crazy. Succession. Wait. Is the Succession Wizard class buff the same as Succession Witch? Or is that just the Succession Witch's class buff? It might be the exact same. I've never actually looked at the class buffs for Succession Wizard. It's the same? Oh, okay. All right, yeah. Early game, 8.5 out of 10. Mid game, 8 out of 10. End game, 8 out of 10. Difficulty hard. I think end game's a little high. I think it's like a 7.5, but we'll see. Awakening, early game, 6 out of 10. Mid game, 8 out of 10. End game, 9 out of 10. Difficulty, very easy. That's right, drool level easy. Amazing. Super good. Huntler says, with the new PvE reworks, both versions of Wizard saw significant buffs. Succession, which had previously been very weak PvE class, has now been brought more up to an average level. It still requires a more considerable amount of effort and active gameplay, but now when using it, you don't feel like you're just wasting your time. I would agree with that. That's a perfect way of saying it. I would not say it's crazy above average, but I would say it's been brought up to speed, so it's like worth your time to still play the class. Whereas before the buffs, it was just like, what are you doing? It's important not to confuse the performance of Succession Witch with that of Wizard. As a specific MMA tech buff made for Suck Witch, PvE, one of the best in the game. Agree. But Wizard does not have this tech. Agree. I tried to explain this yesterday on stream. On the other hand, Awakening Wizard went from being slightly above average to top tier end game PvEer. Agree. While still remaining very comfortable and easy to grind. With very high protections and a low amount of inputs necessary and very easy rotations to pick up as a tag. He's absolutely 100% correct about that. Yep. Agree. Kosini, Awakening Wizard is a very enjoyable class. It's a true turret class with limited mobility and high damage skills. This makes it less effective at lower level spots where you can one-shot mobs due to the lack of mobility. However, at end game spots where you can stay in one spot and focus on pure DPS, the Wizard truly shines. So if you enjoy being a battle mage type of class, it fits the fantasy well. It is also a very comfortable class to grind with. I have never played Succession. I don't have any input on that. Based. Based. Succession? Why bother? What a unit. I haven't even done the Succession quest line. Get the f out of here, bro. What a legend. Agree. Okay, Witch, here we go, bro. Oh my god, bro. This is how much witches care about their class. The whole screen is text. Literally the entire screen is text. Again, compare Witch to Berserker. Look at this, bro. Crazy, bro. Crazy, man. He consulted Looney Storm, Belly, Misty, and Blue Squad. That's me. I don't know why I read it like that. I'm just on autopilot. All right, Looney. And I just want to emphasize to everyone that although I do have an opinion on Witch because I've been playing it for years, Looney Storm is literally the best Succession Witch at PvE that I have ever seen. This guy is an absolute monster, and his opinion on Succession Witch is the bar. Okay? In PvE. In PvE. In PvP, Succession Witch, it's actually Belly. Belly is the bar for Succession Witch in PvP. Belly does not grind. Like, Belly has been playing the game and is the best Succession Witch that I have ever seen play the game. And he's like 600 gear score. I don't know. Like, he's been playing for years. I don't know how he hasn't accidentally his way to like 680 gear score at this point. But the guy is an absolute specimen of PvP. But if it's not capped, you won't actually see him. Like a fart in the wind. It's actually crazy. I am, you know, like I've been I play both specs of the class and I play it really regularly. So like I have an opinion. It's not necessarily as important as these two. Succession, Looney Storm. Succession Witch is currently the top PvE class overall based. I strongly believe it deserves its own tier. It is the best clear speed at most spots, second only to Awakening Nova in some mid-game areas. However, there are few and those are few and far between, and Suck Witch requires less APM than Nova, and that's saying something because it's actually crazy. While it lacks sustained AoE for spots like Sakraya and Orcs, it compensates with insane burst and more for more endgame areas like Darkseeker's Retreat, Tungrad Ruins, and Underground Gyfin, although not really an endgame spot. Olins and LOL Olins and most others in the early game, for one-shot spots, you have 3 separate movement spells alongside very quick high-damage spells, which helps Succession excel at most pack-to-pack spots, unlike Awakening. Awakening, which is a solid S- to S plus tier grind, or S to S plus tier grinder for every content you can do, lacking a bit of mobility for the early game, but unless you're try-harding polys and other irrelevant spots like that, you won't notice it. That's how long it's been since Looney's actually done low-end spots. He's like, yeah, those spots are irrelevant, nobody cares. It's a very solid grinder for Sakraya-like spots, averaging number 2 to number 3 in clear speed. For endgame, it's around 5 to 10% worse than Succession in most spots, with exceptions where AoE is reasonable damage trade-off. Examples like Dekia Turos, Ash, Thornwood, and COTD. I'm not sure what COTD is. The only place where Awakening is lacking, not top 5 to 7 spec in my opinion, are Underground Gyfin and Tungrad Ruins, City of the Dead. Oh my god, thank you guys. Due to how the pet flows interact with the spot-specific damage buffs, they don't get them. I agree with this. Everything he said is accurate. I think he overstressed Awakening just a little bit. I think Awakening is definitely a little tougher. My god, I'm bleeding. Succession, I forgot to read off the stats. Succession, early game, 8 out of 10. Mid game, 8.5 out of 10. Late game, 10 out of 10. Difficulty, hard. Difficulty, hard. I would say it's very hard. It's a freeform style. The combos just aren't necessarily there. It's a wildly difficult. It's really high APM. You have to know every single skill in the kit. You're basically blasting out everything as quickly as you can. Awakening, early game, 6 out of 10. Mid game, 8 out of 10. End game, 9 out of 10. Difficulty, very easy. I don't know if I would put it at that high, but like, yeah, that's fair. Belly says Suck Witch is the strongest it's ever been, and maybe the strongest class at endgame PvE. Notice he says maybe because he doesn't actually do endgame PvE because again he has 600 gear score. Assuming you can keep up with the high APM, low accuracy, and weird cooldowns. Yeah, see, like it's just a really tough. I agree with it. I agree with that. Awakening remains an easy and comfortable option with low APM, low cooldowns, high accuracy, and very forgiving combos and survivability. Yeah, Misty says, I mainly play Succession. The class inputs are easy, but need a few hours to make it work correctly. It's like more effort, more gain class. Okay, I think she 100% undersold Succession. Oh, it just takes a few hours to learn literally every single skill in the kit and how to use it properly in a combo. And weave your MMA in. I think it's going to take more than a few hours. For sure. Call of Duty. Oh, my bad. And then I said, what did I say? Succession Witch has always been more challenging than Awakening, but now it's undeniably the strongest class in high-end PvE. It requires very high APM and is very difficult to is difficult due to its freeform nature and lack of overall combos. You must understand every skill in the kit and how they flow together properly in order to make the class function. Succession Witch is not a class you can switch to as a flavor of the month and do well on without much thought, like Succession Lahn. Awakening is basically the polar opposite. It offers a lot of frontal guard protection. It has red orb to aggro the mobs, so does Succession. And it has magical evasions to stay safe, making her the safest PvE class in the game. But it no longer is the most efficient. Definitely still an above average grinder, but lacks the mobility at low end spots. Succession Witch is slightly more mobility. Well, that's okay. I undersold that. It's definitely more mobility, making her better at low end grind zones than her Awakening counterpart. I agree with everything I said, and I stand by it. I agree wholeheartedly. Thank you. Good job, me. Yeah, and I just want to point out that Looney and I basically have the same opinion on the class here, which is how you know I've spent a lot of time on the class. Okay, Ninja. No way, bro. There is no shot. First of all, Armin didn't get consulted for Ninja. Actually, you know what? Armin doesn't do PvE Ninja. Let's be honest. He's smart. Yellow also didn't get consulted. Probably because he also doesn't grind PvE Ninja. Because again, smart man. Ninja. Shunko and Elmermol got consulted. Says Succession Ninja is early game 9 out of 10, mid game 9 out of 10, end game 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10 end game. Or Brax. Yeah, we didn't see Brax on either. Difficulty very hard. Agree with the difficulty, but wow. I did not know that Ninja was this good at high end spots. I mean, this is remember, Succession Witch guys was 10 out of 10. Right? Like, this is 9.5 out of 10. This is like one, that's Awakening, 7 out of 10. Mid-game, 8 out of 10. End-game, 8.5 out of 10. Difficulty very hard. Absolutely. From my understanding, it's the highest APM grinder in the game next to Kuno. Emerald results are in 316 AP Ninja at Crypt, 24k Trash. Darkseeker's Retreat, 23. Giffins, 3.5, 38.5. Cyclops, 12k. New Achman spot, 26k at the new Achman spot. Definitely worth a try. With such numbers, he's one of the top. Okay, yeah, I mean, like, I believe him. I noticed I didn't say I disagree. I just said that, wow, I didn't know that it was that good. Like, I'm not trying to disagree with the class masters necessarily on this. Wow, I know it's a really hard grinder. Most people choose not to grind on ninja guys because it is just that hard to grind. It's tough to find ninjas that actually grind. Sucks Ninja is a strong choice for the early game thanks to the ability to throw shurikens and his speed. Your choice for mid and end game spots is entirely up to you. If you enjoy pressing a lot of buttons and focusing on combo-oriented spot grinding, you can choose Succession. If you prefer using fewer skills and focusing on burst damage, I recommend choosing Awakening. However, it's important to note that Awakening is more complex and challenging to play than Succession is and requires better gear. Many players have asked me if Awakening PvE is ineffective. Yes, it used to be, but new reworks and buffs have made Awakening PvE more effective. Everything is fine, but some may wonder why it's rated lower than Succession. This is because the buffs that Succession received in the last update not only increased its speed, but also its power. However, it still has accuracy issues. If you're going to a spot where accuracy is crucial, then you will need the minus 9% evasion debuff feature of Awakening. All right, that's interesting. Interesting. Why didn't they ask K Games? Good question. Good question. Mainly because when they said early game spots, they didn't mean altar imps. And I don't mean the LV version. El Mermal. Only referring to Suck since I don't really play Awakening. Suck Ninja is one of the highest APM classes in the game and very challenging class to play, even in PvE at a high level with a high skill ceiling. However, it also becomes very rewarding once you get the hang of it, and is very fun and motivating experience to improve and start getting better and better results. Okay. He can deal very high DPS at in-game spots, has decent AoEs, and no problems moving around very fast to kill groups of squishier targets. He is suffering from a very low accuracy rate, although the only spot where you can actually get, where you're actually obligated to have a lot of accuracy is Crypt. That's not the case anymore. You don't need accuracy anymore at Crypt. And that has been changed that has been changed to an easier, more reachable amount needed. Okay, yeah, there you go. Right on. Okay, so yeah, I didn't realize Ninja was really all that great. Okay, and we found the only Kunoichi player left on the entire server, guys. Ukazian just finished his Tuvala and has not realized that he shouldn't be playing this class yet. Succession, early game, 7.5 out of 10. Mid game, 7 out of 10. End game, Centaurs, 6 out of 10. Difficulty hard. Okay. Awakening. Honestly, yeah, Frosty didn't get consulted. He's in shambles right now, bro. Awakening. Early game, 6.5 out of 10. Mid game, 6.5 out of 10. End game, 5 out of 10. Difficulty, hard. Don't. Ukajin says, Succession Kuno excels in endgame locations that do not require large AoE abilities. Spots such as Cyclops, Quint Hill, Gyphon Underground, and Darkseekers are all good options. However, Awakening Kuno currently faces a significant issue with pet damage scaling. Really, what pet is Awakening Kuno scaling on? In locations with a damage buff mechanic such as Tungrad Ruins, Alvia weapon buff, and Gyphon Underground, she is severely limited in the effectiveness of her core damage skill, Pinwheel Fury. Other pet skills she possesses include Sinew Cut and Delighted Blast. In my opinion, she is the most enjoyable class to play, but if you're seeking efficiency or aiming for higher trash loot numbers, I would advise against choosing her. Oh, she has a clone that does a Beyblade. Oh, I didn't even know that. I was thinking about picking up Kuno soon. Just because, again, I enjoy playing the game for fun. Interesting. What's going on here? This is the PvE class tier list that Kandaya released. We're reading through it. All right. Dark Knight. Didn't get consulted for Dark Knight. W. You know what? I'm just going to go right in the middle of the screen. Succession. Early game, 6 out of 10. Mid game, 7 out of 10. End game, 8 out of 10. Difficulty, easy. I think she's better than that early game. I really do. I think her early game is better, but we'll see. Awakening, early game, 8 out of 10. Ah, dude, I think her early game is at least a 9, bro. So good. Mid game, 8 out of 10. End game, 9 out of 10. Difficulty hard. Agree. People consulted were not the worst, and Lua. Not the worst says Succession and Awakening both have a strong end game performance. Awakening outperforms Succession slightly, but Succession is still worth playing if it interests you. In most scenarios, Awakening is favored in early and mid game spots. Awakening is not very difficult to play at an average level, but mastering it can be challenging. Succession is a bit more pick up and play friendly due to requiring less cooldown management. Perfectly said. Absolutely goated. Amazing. I will add, though, because again, I grind on DK, that the reason that Awakening DK is favored at early to mid game spots is because it has better mobility and less stamina issues. Lua says Awakening Dark Knight deals ridiculous damage in PvE and lacks the effective filler skills during cooldown downtime. On the other hand, Succession Dark Knight maintains a constant uptime and solid DPS at the cost of reduced AoE and range. Sure. I think that saying that Awakening DK is less effective because she has to use filler skills during cooldown is like, I don't know. I think that like her effectiveness in late game is like she's in like the S+ tier, bro. Awakening DK is just so good, while Succession DK sits in like the S tier basically. Okay, let's look at Striker. Fake Uni, CP. This is Pig, by the way. And Divios. For those of you that don't know, okay, so Fake Uni, everybody knows him. One of our favorite content creators. Specimen of Striker. CP is, if you guys, in Pig, if you guys don't know, won the Best in Guild tournament for Salve Lucrum this year. Goated guild, for sure. And Divios has won every single thing that he's ever actually touched in any video game ever. So he's a good person to consult for this. Succession. I have to move my camera again. I apologize, guys. NA BDO Faker. Exactly. Succession Striker. Early game, 4 out of 10. Mid game, 7 out of 10. Early, end game, 8.5 out of 10. Difficulty, medium. Agree. Awakening. Early game, 8 out of 10. Mid game, 8.5 out of 10. End game, 8 out of 10. Difficulty. Yep. Pig says Awakening Striker is an easy class to pick up, offering solid PvE clear speed at all game levels. In the end game, the Striker performs quite well. Not exceptional, but very comfortable and easy on the fingers while maintaining a respectable clear speed. It should be noted that some areas are almost impossible to grind for Strikers, such as Tungrad Ruins, due to its inability to exploit the mechanic. Succession Striker is much weaker in low AP areas due to the lack of AoE, but becomes much more comparable towards the end game. Fake Uni says, excellent insight. Divio says, both Awakening and Succession are extremely effective for all PvE content at the moment. They are both very comfortable classes for grinding in general. Nice. Sick. Yep. Agree. Short and to the point. I liked it. Awakening Striker is much more new player friendly and is great for casual gamers in the end game. It has a significant amount of AoE damage, and the combos are quite easy to execute. Succession requires a higher APM and is much more useful for later game, particularly for more concentrated damage and single targets. The damage is more directional and has much smaller AoE. Agree. I translated it for you guys. I speak the language because I played Mystic. If is an android, he doesn't count. He's literally an AI. Just don't tell anybody. Help Note is trying to get is going crazy trying to get Pen Kutum. He should just do the guaranteed Pen Kutum quest. There's a guaranteed way to get Pen Kutum, and it costs like 450 million silver. It's a joke. You never enhance Kutum. Oh baby, I love Mystic, guys. I absolutely love Mystic. It's one of my favorite classes in the whole game. Let's see what these get. Who did he consult? Gambling, Verdict, Ikura, Travesty, and Clome. Absolute goats. I love Mystic. She just flows together so well. Both specs were so well designed. She's got such an excellent thematic. Phenomenal class. Succession, early game, 4 out of 10. Really? That low? I don't really feel like it's all that low. Her mobility's pretty good. Mid game, 7 out of 10. End game, 5 out of 10. Difficulty, medium. I would agree with like the mid and end game, sure. But I think the early game, they kind of did her dirty, bros. Yeah, I think, well, end game could be a little bit higher. It was 6, 7 out of 10, bro. But like, I would generally agree. Awakening's going to be stronger. Awakening early game, 7.5 out of 10. It's definitely better than Succession early game because it's got better mobility and AoE. Mid game, 8 out of 10. End game, 9 out of 10. Difficulty, easy. Agree. Absolutely. Yeah, I think these numbers are accurate. I think they undersold Succession a little bit, but let's see what they have to say. They're the experts. Ikura says, I believe Mystic is very powerful when played correctly, especially in in-game situations. She has high burst damage, good sustain, and numerous ways to maneuver behind enemies for easy back attacks. The only drawback is her small AoE abilities. Fair. Travesty, the GOAT of Awakening Mystic. With the upcoming buffs to Awakening Mystic's shard system, I anticipate her becoming one of the top 3 in terms of clear speed in the end game. I completely agree. I think that she, like, because of like the most recent patch, she is probably number 3 grinder in the game, maybe number 2. Like, is that good. She is really, really good. She requires the ability to manage shards in a way that involves using 3 shard skills on cooldown. If the potential change reduces the maximum damage from 3 shards to 2 shards without adjusting the damage at all, I am excited to see how quickly she will be able to clear. Some of her best spots include Underground Gyfin, Crypt, and Darkseekers. Yeah, I completely agree with that assessment. I think she's like really good. Gambling says Awakening Mystic is a top choice for PvE, surpassing Succession at any stage of the game and any grind spot. It is very beginner friendly and easy to master. You have the option to be a casual grinder using mostly Tidal Burst to achieve average trash loot. True. I just hold shift right mouse button and then use one of the shard skills. Shift right mouse button, hold one of the shard skills. It's great. Or put in more effort to effectively manage your shards and achieve S+ results. Completely agree with that. The versatility is what makes Awakening Mystic stand out. Efficiency leads to good results for those who are willing to put in the work. She is impressive DPS and consistent damage output, even with easy Shai buffs. Okay. However, despite her large AoEs and consumption skills, she falls short compared to Guardian or Witch in terms of expansive AoE capabilities. Well, yeah, like her AoE isn't necessarily there, but I think the rest of it is, yeah. Verdict love Mystics. Yeah, but he wasn't consulted, so eat it. Actually, he was consulted. He chose not to comment. That's his own problem. Clum, Awakening Mystic is currently a DPS powerhouse. in the end game, I believe she has the potential to be an S+ in situations where AoE and mobility are less important. Bro, am I not spot on for these, bro? I am spot on for these assessments. Unfortunately, these two weaknesses hinder her performance in the early to mid game, where she cannot fully utilize her DPS. Understanding shard spender cooldowns, learning the AoE sizes for important skills, and staying vigilant with back attacks through positioning and movement skills will greatly reward you. Awakening Mystic has relatively simple mechanics, but there is depth to her kit, and the time I have to unpause. In depth to her kit, and time and practice will reveal. Mystic has been one of my true love of BDO, and I hope that some of you will learn to love her as much as I have over the years. Yeah. There we go. How can you write so much about this class? It requires 6 buttons. How could you possibly write this much about this class? Like, this is actually unreal. I'm not getting paid enough. Honest to God, I'm not getting paid enough to read this shit, bro. This is, like, I don't even have, my students never had to read this much. All right, boys. Lahn. The people consulted were Israelia, BRNY, Limex, and the Chillers. Okay? Fair. Good people to consult. Israelia is one of the best in the game. He also does a massive amount of PvE. Ham454 actually does a lot of PvE as well. He just never streams it. But yeah, I suppose he just wanted the PvE suggestion. So Succession Lahn in the early game, 8.5 out of 10. Mid game, 9.5 out of 10. End game, 9.5 out of 10. Difficulty, very easy. Agree across the board. Couldn't agree more. Had it tagged for a long time. Awakening, definitely worse than Succession, basically across the board, but still really easy to play. Early game, 8 out of 10. Mid game, 8.5 out of 10. End game, 7.5 out of 10. Difficulty, easy. Perfect. Bang on. Bang on. BRNY says, or Bernie says, Succession Lahn is extremely overpowered and broken. She is very protected, very easy to play, and very strong. Her Awakening is not bad, as it's more healing abilities, but it does slightly less damage and has smaller area of effect. The Chillers, who just got BDO partner, by the way, should all go give him a follow and a sub on YouTube. Says Succession skills feel great to use and are visually pleasing. The mobility is excellent, making it a great choice for those who want to play efficiently and get into it easily. It is very effective overall once you learn everything, all 6 of the skills. Yes. Awakening. Skills look and feel very good. The gameplay is quick and bursty, requiring the use of a lot of skills. It's ideal for those who want to play a little more technically and put a bit more effort into it. Efficiency-wise, it's not that good in the end game, but if you can cap out in the early game places, it is what you play it. It's pretty good. Okay, that's fair. Limex. I've been playing. Oh my god, dude. Holy shit. Israelia just couldn't even be bothered to say anything. Limex just went in, bro. Okay. I do want to point out that Bernie had it right the first time. Bro, look at this. Succession Lahn is extremely overpowered and broken. Thank you. Done. That's it, bro. Limex says, I have been playing Lahn since she was released, and I'd like to share my thoughts about the class. Succession. Oh, Lahn is a very easy class, very comfortable for your fingers, with good damage and decent area of effect in most skills. You can consider Lahn as one of the best classes for PvE in the game if you're looking for a lazy grind. However, for early game, I can't consider Lahn's Succession good because she's very static and her stamina consumption is her main limitation. For mid-game spots like Elvia Serenia that require more attacking than movement, such as Orcs, Lahn is a class that's literally born to grind these spots. For endgame spots, she is very solid, but is very overrated since PA focuses on buffing other classes and ends up min-maxing more. Okay, I have enough copium. Let's finish it. In some spots, the area of effect is a limitation, like in Thornwood. for example, but she is still very good. In spots where mobs have massive damage, like Dekia and Ash Forest, she will have a bad time since since the class is below average HP sustain and is full SA. I wouldn't say it's below average HP sustain anymore because they added a bunch of HP sustain in a recent patch. But the class has no frontals, only the first 2 hits of Symbidirium. There we go. Awakening. Awakening Lahn is possibly a class that changed the most after overall PvE buff to the classes. Before the buffs, it was a class that was very inconsistent DPS. An Awakening PvE rotation consists of throwing out the entire kit to only deal damage with SRMB Despair in every loop. But that has changed completely. Now it is a class capable of grinding every spot in the game with a pretty good average. Now with more sustain and frontal guards than Succession. But not everything is a bed of roses. Her area of effect is still even more limited than Succession's and consumes even more stamina for hit and run spots. And yes, Succession is better in every way than Awakening still. PA tends to buff Succession 2 more times every time they buff Awakening. But is a solid class and still very good for grinding. Quint Hill. I can put more numbers in trolls with Awakening than Succession. Cyclops, Olans, etc. You would play Awakening Lahn. Oh, sorry guys, I have to you would play Awakening Lahn because you love her, not because you want to pull more trash numbers than other classes. It's interesting. It's an interesting assessment of Succession Lahn. I think the first 2 had it summed up. Yeah. The tiny violins in chat, bro. All right, I do want to again point out the difference between Lahns caring about their class. Okay, because you know these guys are RPing in town with the wonderful outfits that Lahn has, versus again the archers who just don't give a the archers, the only guy consulted was Zacky Skip. He said early game 9.5 out of 10, mid game 9.5 out of 10, end game 8.5 out of 10, difficulty very hard. Okay. It's easy at low end spots. All right, it's really easy at low end spots. It's really not hard. It gets really hard into the mid, like it gets harder in the mid game. It definitely gets really hard end game because you're sweating balls. So I agree with this if you're talking about end game, but it's important to note for the new players watching this that like early game is like really easy. As a professional archer, I should have been consulted. Well, I mean, you have Torty, right? Torty's a good one. There's also Cow, but that's fine. You probably don't know who Cow is, but Zacky Skip, weaker than a few classes, but stronger than most in PvE. Requires some APM and class experience to maximize its potential. Feels satisfying when you become accustomed to the class and start moving around in a unique way. Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh my goodness, that's so loud. Of course these people care too much about their class, bro. What? Why am I surprised, bro? Why am I surprised? Look how much text is on Shai, bro. Like no one gives a shit about Archer, bro. Like look how empty this is. And then we get to Shai and then like Kendaya asks them for an opinion and they're like, how much time do you have? Holy shit. El Chupacabra, Wutaru, and Asmanek, Twitch Alikaz 2 were consulted. Right? I don't know Chupacabra very well, but no Shai left behind. Get out of here. Okay, so Succession. No, it's just Shai. It just doesn't have Succession and Awakening, but that's fine. Early game, 6 out of 10. As if. It's like a 2 out of 10 early game grinder. It is really bad. Mid game, 5 out of 10. Again, really bad. End game, 8 out of 10. Agree. Difficulty, medium. Get out of here. Get out of here, bro. There's no shot. This is some Wutaru stuff, bro. There's no way, bro. You gotta buff 4 times and then hold right mouse button. It's crazy, bro. It's insane. El Chupacabra says, in my opinion, Shai is one of the easiest class. Yeah. Yeah. But I agree. I completely agree. Shai is one of the easiest classes in the game. You don't need a long time training to master the class. She is also one of the most comfortable classes in terms of APM. With the new add-on and Artina Soul update, today I learned easiest class in the game is medium. And that if that's your baseline, that's fair. She can be used again in solo high-end spots where she lacked damage recently. Okay. She is also the highest priority class for party spots. Yup. Among the Black Shrine bosses, she is the best class along with Witch. Despite these advantages, she suffers a lot in the early to mid game. Dude, I am bang on with it. Chupacabra is my boy, bro. I'm bang on with this, bro. Absolutely spot on. With her, due to her mobility capabilities, that's exactly the reason. However, it is possible to reach high gear by spending your time at the upper Gyphon in the middle game, in mid game. She performs well in the end game spots such as Olin's, Normal, and Dekia, Gyphon Underground, Quint Hill, Cyclops, and she performs moderately in the newest spots as Dark Seeker's Retreat and Tungrad Ruins. I completely agree with that. The reason she's bad early mid game, guys, is because her mobility is just not there. And she also doesn't have a crazy amount of frontal guards, which makes her struggle a little bit more than other classes at end game spots. But the solution is just to hold right mouse button and kill them before they can actually hit you. So pretty easy. Wutaru. Shai is the go-to class for those looking for a support role. She excels in group content, both PvE and PvP. Her buffs play a crucial role in endgame content, with other players considering her almost essential. No. There we go. I fixed it. Otherwise, you risk hindering your group's progress. The challenge with the class is not in the solo play. You will need to grind in these spots until you have enough gear to get to Olin's. Okay, yeah, so he's saying you need the challenge with the class is not in the early. Sorry, there's so much text, guy. I'm losing the sentence. I apologize. The challenge with this class is not in the early game where you can easily defeat the mobs, but rather in the mid game where many players struggle with Shai. Well, again, I think the early game she struggles super hard. Most mid-game areas are designed for solo play, so you will need to grind in these spots until you have enough gear to get to Olin's Golems. That makes much more sense. In the end-game content, Shai truly shines and becomes the most sought-after class for group activities in the game. However, it's important to note that if you want to participate in PvP group content, you will need to create a completely different set of gear focused on defense. I completely agree. He didn't talk about how easy the class was, but that's fine. Asmanek says... Okay, I'm going to have to read his without the thing. These scores are based on the comparison to other classes. In my opinion, Shai is quite average in terms of grinding efficiency and difficulty. Grinding efficiency, sure. Difficulty, not a chance. There are some grind spots where Shai performs exceptionally well. Dekia Cyclops, Olin's Valley, both Normal and Dekia, Elvia Quint Hill, and... Oh my god, bro. Just... Alright. And some grind spots where Shai does not perform well. Tungrad Ruins, Elvia Giants, Elvia Orcs. Nowadays, Shai is pretty average at most grind spots. You can play Shai with low APM and do okay, or play high APM and make her more efficient. I disagree. I think that he said it best. Is it's one of the easiest classes in the game, and then he's like, all right, yeah, she's like average, and then he put it as medium. I really do think that she's really easy to play. At Olin's, if you're the one doing the pulls, sure, it can be like kind of more difficult for sure, but like it's really easy, bro. It's really, really easy. Guardian. Okay. Bro, the goated Guardian mains keeping it to like 2 paragraphs. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. So that you guys will focus, I'm gonna move my camera right here. Alba. It says Succession Guardian early game 5 out of 10, mid game 9 out of 10, end game difficult or end game 9.5 out of 10, difficulty medium. How is Succession Guardian medium difficulty? Awakening early game 3 out of 10, Mid game, 7 out of 10. End game, 8.5 out of 10. Difficulty, very easy. I would generally agree with those numbers overall. Alba. Who is Alba? I don't really know very much, but apparently it's a Guardian. If it can die, I trust him. I trust him too. Guardian is a very versatile class, and both specs are highly recommended for any Dekia spot due to her large AoEs and ease of use. Again, Shai was medium, guys, so, like, really what that means is it's literally the easiest class. It's one of the easiest classes in the game. Medium apparently means easiest class in the game. Succession is also effective at mid-game spots such as Orcs, Giants, and Gyphon. She can be very good at Tungrad Ruins if you have the appropriate gear. However, I wouldn't recommend this class for spots like Darkseeker's Retreat and Cyclops, although she is fine at Olin's Valley. Okay. Agree. Goated Guardian mains coming up with a small amount of text on the screen. And now we're back to these. Oh my god, bro. They just care too much, bro. Like, bro, you guys gotta go touch grass. Like, there's some outside of Velia, bro. You could just, like, go, just walk out of Velia and just, like, lay down, man. Okay. All right, and I do want to point out that for the record, the 3 people consulted were Mad Marv, Inaros, and Barry SD. Suzanne is in shambles. Actual dog at Hashashin. Get dumpstered, you loser. Mad Marv, hold on, first of all. Succession, early game, 3 out of 10. Mid game, 6 out of 10. End game, 8.5 out of 10. Difficulty, hard. I think that this is really underselling early game Hashashin. I think his mobility is better than that. Like, I know his AoE is not very good, so that's probably why it's like that. But, like, his mobility is pretty solid. You could go to like Fogans or Nagas and get the job done. Anyway, Awakening, 6 out of 10. Definitely better than Succession, pretty much across the board. Except for end game, probably. Yeah, early game, 6 out of 10. Mid game, 7 out of 10. End game, 7.5 out of 10. Difficulty, hard. Yeah, I would agree with the hard difficulty for sure. My understanding from Hash is that Awakening has more AoE, and so it's better at early mid-game spots, but suffers at late-game spots, versus Succession, which has more burst damage, and has more damage at end-game spots, but suffers a little bit more in the early game. But let's see what they have to say. That's, again, I've never played Hash. That's just what I've gathered from consulting the experts, not Suzanne. Mad Marv, Hashashin is in a strong position, but still has significant flaws. Succession could be used... could use more relevant filler and slight buff to improve his bursty movement. The Succession combo is not easily loopable. Tornadoes can deal significant amount of damage, but they suffer from the mechanic buffs not being applied to them. His Awakening has good movement and damage, but lacks effective pulling and has too few AoE skills. The combo can now be looped. Oh, okay. Inaros says, I wouldn't recommend Hash to anyone who cares about performance. I wouldn't say that. That's extreme. It's difficult and not very rewarding. However, playing as a Hashashin is fun. I would recommend people try it out. Better. He saved it. He saved it. As an assassin class, Hashashin is very appealing, and despite being hard to play, becomes really good once you've learned how to use him. Hashashin has the ability to change playstyle and roles during a fight like no other class. That's what makes Hashashin good and fun. Other classes may perform better and with less effort, but sometimes it's not about using what's best, but rather what's more fun. I completely agree. Based, Inaros. Based. Barry SD says, Succession, a powerful high damage class with quick bursts of speed. In the early game and mid game, the class is not as efficient as others, but still more enjoyable due to the complexity and depth of the PvE kit. In the end game, Succession is extremely potent with large AoE attacks and constant very high damage. However, there are a few issues preventing Succession from being S+ tier in PvE. Tornadoes do not benefit from PvE AP buff mechanics, so at places like Tungrad Ruins, it cannot compete with other classes because they effectively do half of their damage. Additionally, Succession Hash with high gear score will start to experience the early and mid-game issues of Tornadoes being on cooldown when they reach the next pack. This is very noticeable at Darkseeker's Retreat. Awakening. You know what? I completely agree. Succession Witch is like this too. Sometimes you kill the pack so quickly that your skills are actually not off cooldown by the time you reach the next pack. Honestly, Succession Witch needs to be buffed. Awakening Extremely easy to get into, very high skill ceiling. This spec seems to cover most of Succession Hash's weaknesses, like long range movement, early game, mid game, etc. Its only drawback is that it lacks some of the accuracy Succession has, so it will feel as if it's doing slightly less damage. Overall, it offers big damage, big AoE, relatively low cooldowns, and great healing. It's an accuracy and slight damage buff away from being S tier. With that said, most people who roll to hash do not roll away. It's a very addictive class with a ton of flexibility. Would recommend. Again, I'm taking W's on this. Again, Awakening has more mobility, more AoE, but Succession has more damage. That's basically what they said across the board. Just W. Absolute W. I completely agree with most of these things. I don't know Hashashin very well, though, so... Dude, Novas, man. Like, these... On top of being, like, the thirstiest people in the entire game, bro. Nova, Strega, Powell, and Gameru. SWPZ is in shambles. I literally can't even move my camera to it. Okay, hold on. Early game Nova, 5 out of 10. Mid game Nova, 6 out of 10. End game, 2 out of 10. That's for Succession. Difficulty, medium. Holy shit. Succession Nova got a 2 out of 10, bro. And a medium difficulty? Medium? Bro, give me a break, dude. What is an easy difficulty, man? Like, what? I don't understand. It's not hard, bro. Like, medium is like, oh my god, bro. It's really bad, though. I think it's way worse than a 5 out of 10, in my opinion, and low end spots. I think it's way worse than a 6 out of 10. I think end game is accurate unless you're at... Well, it's just accurate. The only reason it was actually good at Deki of Thornwood is because it, like, couldn't be CC'd. But, like, now the other classes have been buffed, so it's not even good there either now. It's like crap. Awakening, early game, 10 out of 10. Mid game, 10 out of 10. End game, 10 out of 10. Difficulty, very hard. Jesus. All right. Let's see what they have to say. Powell, Awakening Nova. Not hard to play at an optimal level. Really? Slightly challenging to learn due to her unique playstyle compared to other classes. If you do a line of Coke, it makes the class easier to play. Very high skill ceiling. Excels in various aspects of the game. She possesses good AoE, excellent mobility, abundant super armor, impressive DPS, and gains 20 DR from her free passive. Lacks significant frontal guard, lacks HP sustain, and lacks accuracy. Highly enjoyable to play. If you enjoy drugs. Gameru. Succession. While Awakening dominates every aspect of the game, and if it doesn't in a certain area, it's still a very good option. Succession Nova is quite the opposite. It's completely overlooked. It's a completely overlooked class, never seeing the light, and any time she starts to improve, another wave of general buff comes in and leaves her in misery again. True. Succession Nova has the lowest total AP in the game, as well as the worst accuracy. The class completely lacks buffs, debuffs, like AP, accuracy, evasion. Moreover, a significant portion of the damage comes from the summons with a base accuracy of 0%. This makes special damage modifiers not as valuable with most classes in the late game, and also requires a ton of accuracy to function. AP that you lose to trade off with the accuracy, of course. Okay. In the game, which also requires a ton of... Oh, okay, sorry. To add insult to injury, the class also suffers with cooldown bottlenecks. Literally, the class doesn't work at some endgame spots, like Tungrad Ruins. And in any other spot, if you're lucky, you'll make only 40 or 50% trash, less trash than other classes. It's truly sad that such a flashy and fun class is so forgotten. Honestly, that was a base. That felt honest and that felt accurate. That is about what I get out of Succession Nova. Like, every Succession Nova that has ever talked to me is like, you're lucky if you're getting 40 or 50% of the trash of every other class in the game. I completely agree. Strega. Succession Nova's exclusion from all changes in PvE and PvP. Honestly, that's true. Every single time that there's PvE buffs, Succession Nova doesn't get touched. It's the worst class in the game in PvE, and it never gets any buffs for any reason. My copium is that they're working on a rework for her. Oh, God. Strega. Succession Nova's exclusion from all changes in PvE and PvP has a significant negative impact on her. She was already considered one of the worst choices in general, and this has only further diminished her performance. She is unable to benefit from the additional damage of her summons through special attack modifiers and zone buffs from items such as the Elvia weapon, Tongue Red, Ruin, City of the Dead, and Underground Gyfin. Her overall DPS is lacking compared to classes that are even slower than her. Currently, she is only effective for two things: Black Shrine and irritating other players in a 1v1. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. On average, when grinding with her for 3 hours, you are already 1 to 2 billion silver behind the other classes, depending on the zone. Other classes are achieving 40 to 120% the difference in trash loot. This is significantly prolongs progression with her, and the grind in the game is already very time consuming. She requires a reduction of 2 seconds in the cooldowns for all command skills, and a substantial increase in her damage for filler skills such as WR&B, WC. Her 5-second crit chance buff needs to be changed back to 10 seconds, similar to the other class buffs. Her main combo needs to be significantly increased specifically for PvE. Her HP on hit skills need to be increased from 30 to 50 to 80 to 100, as those abilities have a low total hit count, making her sustain comparatively poor. Let me hit play. She is very enjoyable to play with some of the most skill ability cancels of all classes. What? And she links and flows perfectly. However, she's underlying mechanics behind her great design are lacking, which is quite disappointing. I don't understand. This last sentence is crazy to me. To say that Succession Nova has some of the most cancels in the game is wild to me. But on average, I would agree with the rest of this. I say a big reason that they didn't really mention that she's really bad in PvE is because they do rely on the summons. They did say that. But pet damage in BDO sucks, and they can't figure out how to fix it. And I know that as an Awakening Witch main for a long time. The pet damage just can't be fixed, and she relies too much on pet damage. It is what it is. He probably meant for Awakening. That's fair. If he meant for Awakening, I could see the cancels and stuff being more relevant. Oh, please be low. All right. Okay. All right. Sage. They consulted Faravon, Drakane, Zephian, and Grimkill. Grim has literally been playing for 3 months, but okay. Sounds good. Succession. Early game 6 out of 10. Mid game 9 out of 10. End game 8 out of 10. Very easy. I don't think Succession is like performing at a 9 out of 10 level. No Divios. Yeah, they chose Grimkill over Divios. They could have just added Divios to the list. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like Zethian's been playing the game for 7 or 8 years. You know what I mean? Like, and PvEs every day. You know what I mean? Like, that's, and then you've got, yeah, all right. Just Awakening, early game, 7.5 out of 10. And no Justin either. Right, exactly. Yeah, Justin's been playing a lot longer too. Mid game, 9 out of 10. End game, 9 out of 10. Difficulty, hard. Okay. Not to, I don't want to throw any shade at Grimkill, but like, again, you're talking about someone with like 3 months experience versus somebody that has 7 years experience. So yeah. Drakane, please note that the tier ratings I provided are based on a comprehensive comparison across all classes, informed by video analysis, loot data, and discussions with players on Discord and Inven. Please don't flame me in the comments. I did my research. Not just between Succession and Awakening. Early game, Awakening Sage traditionally hinders by stamina issues, was outpaced by Succession. However, recent updates and new skills have mitigated these problems, allowing Awakening to perform well, though still slightly behind Succession. Excluding Berserker, Succession Sage excels at some of the top potion and map grinders. Is Awakening Sage performing under Succession at early game spots? I could have sworn Awakening had better movement and AoE, which made it a better early game grinder, but I could be wrong about that. It's strange to me. Mid game, Succession Sage truly excels at this stage. I would agree with this. In locations like Kratuga, Hystria, Star's End, and certain stamina, well, Succession struggles with that too. I guess just it's moving a lot slower though. Like, you can put stamina artifacts and stuff. All right, and certain Elvia Serenia spots where monsters are quickly defeated. His expansive AoE and precise rift chain weapon buffs. Okay. Awakening, now on par due to recent class enhancements, surpasses Succession at more resilient mid-game areas such as Giants, Nagas, and Rudums. Okay, there we go. Endgame. Succession Sage's performance is notably lowered compared to many classes and is significantly outshone by Awakening Sage. What? Well, why is it 8 out of 10 in the end game and it's significantly outshone? Well, 8 and 9 out of 10 is significant. All right. He did his research. Well, that I would agree with, but what they're saying does not necessarily line up with like the rating, right? Like Shai was like, this is the easiest class in the game. Difficulty, medium. Like what? It's like, what's going on here? Endgame. Succession Sage's performance is notably lower compared to many other classes and is significantly outshone by Awakening Sage, except at Tongue-Red Ruins. Succession's effectiveness hinges on his potent E buff and BSR uptime for competitive damage, as recent buffs to other classes have left him the main DPS skills relatively unchanged, while Awakening and other classes have grown stronger. Awakening Sage has emerged as a powerhouse in endgame locations following the buffs. He can reach over 24k at Dekia Thornwood, with significantly outperforms Succession at Crypt, Darkseekers, and all of the Dekia spots. Yeah. Like, with the exception of Cyclops. However, it's worth noting that Awakening still doesn't quite match the strength of other meta classes like Witchers, Nova, Guardian, etc. This is strange. The final results are an average of the class masters. What'd Grim say? Simple to master, offers high damage output, yet its PvE capabilities are significantly limited by mobility and stamina. And the reason he's saying this is that, again, he's not... Like, he would not be saying that they're significantly limited by mobility and stamina if he was grinding like Dekia, right? Like, he's like 700 and something gear score. I don't know... Like, at early game, absolutely. Sure, but you can put stamina artifacts on and put Macalods on, and it helps tremendously. Still going to struggle a little bit, but, like, it helps a lot. Especially Succession is definitely a newbie-friendly class. Okay, and that's all we got. I don't know why Zethian didn't care to comment. That's tragic. But, like, yeah, I mean, like, I think that the numbering system is just off. I don't know. But, like, based on what they're saying and what I've heard about the class and stuff, like, I feel like the end game, like Sage, is pretty significantly better than Succession, but mid game they kind of line up a little bit more. In early game, sure, you could put, and honestly, it says early game Sage 6 out of 10, early game 7.5 out of 10. So it does say Awakening is better than Succession at early game spots, but then he here says that Awakening Sage is too hindered by stamina issues and it's outpaced by Succession. So, like, it's just strange to me. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't line up with what the text is necessarily saying here. It's a shame Zethian didn't comment here, but... Oh my god, bro. Holy moly. Oh my goodness, bro. These people... Alright. Corsair. Zethia, Hickey, Lefonda, La Chickenson, and Sieg. Oh. Blue, there was a second page for Sage, and there's no... No, there's not. It's just the one. Yeah, there's not a second page. We're good. All right. Succession Corsair, 7 out of 10 early game, mid game 6 out of 10, end game 6 out of 10, difficulty medium. Awakening, early game 7 out of 10, mid game 7 out of 10, end game 7 out of 10, difficulty hard. Okay, guys, remember that, like, a 7 out of 10 is like dog water. On this tier list, every single class has been 8 out of 10 or higher, basically, like, across, unless it's like actually like the worst class. 7 out of 10 is like really below average, like really far below average. Zethia, Corsair may not be a top tier class like Witch or Awakening Nova, but she certainly holds her own. In my opinion, she's barely average at grinding, but is extremely enjoyable to play. For me, she's the most entertaining class in the game in Awakening. Overall, though, I highly recommend giving her a try. She's a super fun class and unique. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with that assessment. She's not very efficient, but like if you like her, she's got one of the best themes in the entire game. Completely agree. Sieg, Corsair is pretty fun. Come and swim with us. That was the best comment I have read in the entire video. Actually based. Thank God, bro. Oh my shit. The Chicken Son, who I swear to God is in my chat all the time. I can't believe he's not here right now. Wait, no, he is here right now. The Chicken Son wrote a novel. Succession Corsair is average at grinding. And keep in mind, I wrote about the same amount for Witch, so I am also a piece of shit. The Succession Corsair is average at grinding at nearly all locations in efficiency, including boss splits. However, a major deterrent for those drawn to this class is that despite whales being its signature skills, they serve primarily as supplementary damage in PvE. In many grind spots, the class relies solely on sword skills, foregoing whale summons due to her sluggishness and low DPS. While she may not be exceptional in any one aspect, she possesses a versatile toolkit: sustain, solid frontal defenses, an effective PvE iframe sequence, efficient mana regeneration, beneficial to those that play without potions, and endless combo, rapid burst damage, and substantial stamina, which requires careful management in certain areas, among other features. Okay, that's fair. Notice he didn't mention Awakening. Okay. Hickey, I primarily play Awakening Corsair in every content. While she presents a challenging playstyle with a substantially high skill ceiling, she can hold herself in PvE with enough knowledge and practice. See, again, you got to work way harder, and she's barely hitting average. That's basically what he just said. Although her cooldowns are a bit too long compared to the other classes, I think that's exactly what it is. She is a lot of fun. Don't give up. Learning Corsair is worth it. She can be pretty tanky on the evasion side with the right gear, and I'd say the I'd say her drawback would be managed more and more. Wait, ooh. Oh, I say her drawback would be her damage falling a bit short compared to others due to her skills coming out a bit slower. But this can be managed through more and more practice. And again, I completely agree. The class feels really clunky to play. The damage comes out slowly. There's not enough of it, and like her cooldowns are really long. Agree. Despite those drawbacks, Awakening Corsair offers an enjoyable game experience that I can't find on any other class in the game. Absolutely true. It's super unique. Absolutely true. Drakania. Those are low-key wholesome. You have to play wholesome playing Corsair, dude. You don't get to play Corsair long-term unless you're actually just RPing. You know what I mean? Drakania, Utito, Macedonians, Flowers, and Kindaya. Succession, 5 out of 10 early game, 6 out of 10 mid game, 7 out of 10 late game. Difficulty, easy. How are you going to do this? How are you going to put this as easy and Shai as medium? What is that, bro? Awakening, early game, 7.5 out of 10. Mid game, 7 out of 10. End game, 7.5 out of 10. Difficulty, hard. Agree. And it's below average across the board. Yep. Utito says Succession's damage output is acceptable, yet she could benefit from additional filler skills or reduced cooldowns. Furthermore, the Ion mechanic can make her grinding tedious due to the heavy reliance on combos. Awakening state has improved significantly post PvE rebalance, but it still falls short when compared to other classes, primarily due to a lack of AoE. Rendering her subpar in many of the current endgame locations. And we are all okay with that because of how incredibly broken she is in PvP. Stay in the dumpster, you dog shit players. She offers a very complex playstyle, not recommended for those seeking easy or efficient grinding experience. Okay? Macedonian says excessive APM is required. Applying pre-buffs and debuffs is tediously slow, and resulting damage is underwhelming when compared to other classes. If you're set on playing a Drak, I suggest opting for Awakening playstyle. Otherwise, play meta classes to maximize your silver earnings per hour. You're literally going to tell an Awakening Drakania to play a meta class? You going to do that? I see no viable way to enhance Succession's performance in PvE without a complete rework. Merely increasing the damage output won't address her high APM issue, especially not at endgame level. What? I thought he was talking about Awakening, and then he hit me with the curveball. Let me read that again. I see no way to viably enhance Succession's performance in PvE without a complete rework. Merely increasing the damage output won't address the high APM issue of Succession Drakania. What? He had to have mistyped that. There's no shot. There's just no shot. Flowers. Goat. What a goat. One line. Awakening Drakania is smooth, flashy, and fun, and makes time invested, learn, and practice a worthwhile investment. I love Flowers. God, I like him more now. Oh my god. Yes, sir. What an alpha. All right, Kindaya. Here we go, boys. Buckle up. The Succession Drakania classes generally has slower animations. Your skills only become effective with the ion charge mechanic. Without ions, your skills do almost no damage, which becomes a burden for her character. Additionally, Drakania players question why its reward isn't better for fulfilling such a prerequisite. Example, Awakening Nova start Excel buff. On the other hand, Succession's filler skills are very weak, and the debuffs and self buffs are quite poor. Finally, in the main issue, the primary damage skills is their high cooldowns, typically around 12 to 15 seconds. They all should be 9 to 10 seconds, so she can shine with the ion charge prerequisite. This creates an unavoidable bottleneck regardless of how good you play the character. Awakening Drakania class is one of the most unique characters in the game. You have 26 active skills in the Awakening skill tree alone, and this class is approximately more than 80 flow cancel possibilities. For a casual player, mastering this class, which contains numerous subtleties, can take months. However, if the result of the effort in APM at best is a performance that is average or below average. Issues with Hexblood skills having small AoE, poor crit rates, and Dragonblood skills having low animations that result in weak DPS skills, among others, contribute to this. Moreover, the class has a bottleneck to maintain skill damage skills, Sundering Roar, having a 14-second cooldown, which affects her performance by quite a lot. It should be 10 seconds. If you enjoy playing Drakania, please do not give up. You don't expect too much from in terms of performance. It is definitely worth the time and the investment for PvE focused players. For min-max efficiency, check better PvE meta classes. Bro, I was legitimately trying to read that at 2x speed. I want people to check the video and be like, man, did I put it on 2x speed? Did I speed up the video, bro? Like, this is crazy. Okay, let's look at Woosa. How could you do Woosa and not include J-Kun? How is that possible? J-Kun is in shambles. Kolisi, Gameru, and Hayemi got consulted. J-Kun is in the dumpster. Just as irrelevant as the Olin's golems that he kills. Demolished. Succession, Woosa, 8 out of 10 early game, 8 out of 10 mid game, 9 out of 10 late game. Difficulty, medium. I would say that for once, the medium is spot on. I've played a good amount of Succession Musa in PvE. Solid. Medium-ish. Awakening Musa. 5 out of 10 early game, 6 out of 10 mid game, 7 out of 10 late game. Difficulty easy. I would say it's easier than Succession is for sure. But again, our bar here is low. Actually, it's really high. Kolisi. Avoid engaging with Awakening until you're at the end game. Succession is a straightforward, protected, and capable of performing competently across the various content in the game, though it doesn't excel at any specific grind spot. I honestly think that Awakening Musa is fine at like mid-game spots. Early game spots, sure, it might suffer a little bit, but like it's really not that bad. Its AoE is really good. Its mobility is above it, or is like mid, you know? Like it's solid. It's not that bad. J-Kun? Yeah, exactly. Who make a little? Gamer. Succession remains a robust and vital option throughout the game. It's not lacking in any content type, but currently there are better choices due to certain classes receiving excessive buffs. Awakening. In contrast, its Succession performs poorly in the majority of PvE scenarios. Oh, in contrast to its Succession, it performs poorly in the majority of PvE scenarios. The class is notably slow, suffers from delayed damage output, and faces significant limitation. lacking the necessary damage to offset the sluggishness. In essence, the class punishes you for skillful play and high quality gear, as your damage largely relies on a skill with an extended cooldown. Awakening has yet to receive any buffs, marking it as another that is gradually falling from its prominence. I think that he undersells Awakening a little bit for sure. I really think that Awakening's damage is really solid basically across the board. Like, and again, that's based on what J-Kun tells me, but like, again, Jay, like, dude, he's like the guy, right? What's up, Jeremiah? How you doing, big man? Hayemi wrote a novel. It's like a 3-part epic. Homer looked at the amount that he typed out for Woosa, and he said, nah, man, that's too much, bro. Succession Woosa has remained a top-tier PvE class for quite some time. Despite receiving a nerf, her clouds and other classes have been buffed. She continues to perform exceptionally well in comparison. Both the Woosa's specializations boast impressive accuracy rates. Succession is an evasion debuff, while Awakening boasts high accuracy and with the flowers. Succession also feels more resilient than Awakening thanks to the additional damage reduction passive with frontal guards in her skill set. In most scenarios, Succession is superior choice and relatively easy to learn. However, some may find her slightly cumbersome. Awakening, by contrast, offers more intuitive playstyle, making it simpler for newcomers. Awakening's flowers, which are significantly the source of her damage, are essentially not viable at all. I would still prefer using the pre-Awakening kit over many of the Awakening skills in the early game. Mid-game, Succession continues to outperform Awakening, not so much because of her larger AoE, but because of her slow cast time and detonation time on the flowers, which remains somewhat impractical, preventing full utilization of the Awakening's kit. Casting endgame. Awakening begins to unleash her full potential, matching Succession in areas in the time it needs to kill 6 seconds. What? Succession in areas where the time to kill exceeds 6 seconds. Okay, making her complete skill set viable. Nonetheless, there are still locations where Succession is more effective, offering a more consistent damage output for extended periods, while Awakening delivers higher burst damage with her flowers. I completely agree. We could have said this in like 400 less words, but like I agree. Maegu. Let me get this straight. Verdict is willing to comment on Maegu, but Verdict didn't comment on Mystic? I find that hard to believe. Oh my god, these RPers playing Maegu are unreal, bro. Okay, so the people he consulted were Verdict, Nethrix, Kalashel, and Hayemi. Alright. Verdict. Succession is the ideal choice for new players, those returning, or anyone in search of an efficient grinder. She's a fail-safe option, equipped with all of the essentials for peak effectiveness. Awakening is a sophisticated class, boasting I can literally see Verdict saying this in one of his videos. It's a sophisticated take on Maegu. Refined senses. There's nothing sophisticated about this class. It's a yin and yang, bro. The sophistication was on the other sister. But Maegu is all about chaos and disorder and disruption, bro. Like, it's yin and yang. It's literally the opposite. Bro, there ain't no sophisticated. Get out of here. Awakening is a more sophisticated class, boasting top-tier PvE mobility alongside formidable single-target burst damage. Hot take. She excels as an end-game grinder for those ready to invest the necessary effort. Perlibus's recent resolution of her accuracy issue has significantly enhanced her performance. I'll trust him on it. Class style. Although I will say that again, the sophisticated is not a good way to not. Class style. Succession Maegu is generally strong, but falls short in short-term accuracy buffs. Sustain and somewhat in forward guard. Awakening Maegu is also decent, but could benefit from AoE enhancement. With enhanced AoE, she could be on par with slightly surpass Succession. Both specializations would be ideal with minor improvements in the aforementioned areas. Nethrix says, Maegu excels in as a versatile combatant, adept at all PvE aspects without notable weaknesses. Both Succession and Awakening have their merits. Succession excels in more AoE required situations, while Awakening prefers pure DPS. Awakening is preferable for pure DPS needs. Maegu's peak performance is in the mid game, where Succession truly stands out. In the end game, Suck is elite at Tungrad Ruins and slightly below elite in Dekia Thornwood, yet remains competitive across other locations. Conversely, Awakening outperforms Succession in endgame areas where DPS trumps AoE, such as Darkseeker's Retreats and Dekia's Cyclops. However, it falls short in locations demanding AoE, and its DPS advantage diminishes when fewer targets are hit compared to its rivals. Okay. Hey, Emmy. Maegu exhibits reliable accuracy in both specializations. The Succession spec boasts expansive AoE and moderate damage in a mix of short and long range abilities, whereas the Awakening spec features limited AoE and substantial damage in exclusively short range skills. In PvE scenarios, Maegu maintains a solid position, with Succession excelling in areas where Awakening falls short and vice versa. Succession is more user-friendly for beginners due to its less demanding input speed. While Succession involves managing clones, this is primarily due to PvP concern. In PvE, the clones are negligible. Awakening, on the other hand, prevents the steeper initial learning curve, necessitating understanding of the Spirit Forge mechanic. Neglecting to activate Spirit Forge can result in a significant damage loss ranging from 30 to 50% based on your potential output. Early game, Succession is preferable, leveraging its larger AoE to eliminate more mobs with a single skill. Additionally, its stamina regeneration gives it an edge in mobility over Awakening. Mid-game, Succession continues to outperform Awakening, utilizing its long-range abilities to gather mobs and the extensive AoE simultaneously to target up to 10 times. Endgame, Awakening Maegu begins to surpass Succession with the higher damage potential. However, this advantage does not extend to areas that demand extensive AoE and low-range crowd control, such as Dekia Thornwood and Tungrad Ruins. Did I read off this? Did I read the early Succession Maegu early game 8.5 out of 10, mid game 9.5 out of 10, end game 8 out of 10, difficulty easy, agree. Awakening early game 7.5 out of 10, mid game 7 out of 10, end game 7.5 out of 10, difficulty very hard. And again, okay, so we literally just read every single person said that Awakening Maegu is typically better than Succession in endgame at most endgame spots because it has higher DPS but low AoE. Unless they're like it's an AoE spot. So like the fact that Succession is rated better in everything and not just its endgame too is strange to me. I don't like it doesn't line up, bro. It's strange to me. Oh, Scholar. You know, I'm offended that he didn't consult me for Scholar. Bro, I literally been grinding on this. It's fine. I'll just sit in the corner with Suzanne. Scholar, Q Hotbar, Blonde Bear, and Kendaya. You get fed to mobs. Yeah, but that's irrelevant to the grind. That's PvP. Scholar. Okay, Kendaya, and the only one that commented, I would have given him a comment on Scholar, bro. Scholar, early game 5 out of 10, mid game 5 out of 10, end game 7 out of 10, difficulty easy. Agree. I would agree. She's average to below average at end game spots, and she's below average at mid and early game spots. Agree. Kendaya, the Scholar class was introduced to the game not too long ago, but unfortunately we haven't seen any significant balancing patches in the past 6 to 7 weeks. Actually, they fix bugs all the time. But he's right. 100% right. Consequently, players have lost interest in the class, and they have a point. True. The class is designed to be newbie friendly, featuring an Ascension type skill tree, and is played in a single form. There is a consensus among players that the class seems to have been hastily prepared as a demo and added to the game. Okay, I don't know about that. I think the class is very fleshed out and great. I think the numbers are just really low. I think the damage the class does for the speed that it's moving is really low, as a general rule. There's a noticeable lack of cancel mechanics between the skill transitions, and the skills are incredibly slow. Although it may provide an average feeling in terms of significant target or single target DPS, the class consistently struggles with DPS issues in spots due to slow animations and absence of cancel mechanics. rather than the damage numbers of the skills themselves, leading to poor PvE performance. It's disheartening that almost 2 months have passed without clear steps to improve the class. I hope there will be a focus on addressing the chronic issues the class has, seeking solutions, as continuously increasing the multipliers and damage output won't solve the underlying problems. I actually think that just giving her damage, it does solve every problem. Like in this case, I think that the kit is really well designed. I think it's polished. I think it feels really good. I think that it just, like, I think I state for the record, Guardian is basically the same, right? Like you just adjust the modifier. There's nothing wrong with the Guardian kit. You just adjust the modifiers and the class is fine. I think that the class is, I think he kind of nailed the numbering system here. I think that it is an easy class for sure. But I think that they really could just buff the damage numbers and oh, it could use a little bit more AoE too. Yeah, I think it could use a little bit more AoE for sure. And then damage. I'd say very easy. No, it's not. Like according to his system, it depends on who you're judging this off of. Again, Succession Tamer is medium. A Shai is ranked medium on this list. Easy is like you literally could just walk away from the keyboard and still have it happening. Okay, like, so just bear that in mind. Okay, so that was all of the classes in the game. Let's see where they are on the tier list. Does he talk during this? He does not. Okay. All right, so in S plus, he's got, wait, what? Oh, this is early game. Okay, guys, this is early game. Don't panic. There are 3 tier lists. I see that. So this is early game. You see S. See, this is my point. I give him a hard time for this every time. Why are there 3 S like it's crazy, bro. S plus S and S. Yeah, so I guess these are just all S tiers. It's just these are lower than the others. S plus early game, Succession Berserker, Musa Awakening, Archer, and Nova Awakening. I don't know if I would put Archer as S plus in early game grinding, but okay. S Succession again. I think Suck Warrior's better. S Succession Warrior, Suck Ranger, Suck Musa, Awakening Maehwa, a Maehwa Suck, Suck Ninja, Wizard Suck. There is no importance of being first or last. I had to add one more SNA tier line. First line and second line show the same tier. Yeah, okay, all right. So it doesn't matter what order they're in. They're just in the same tier. Suck Witch, Awakening DK, Awakening Striker, Awakening Lahn, Suck Lahn, Woosa, Suck Maegu. You see the worst classes in the game are Suck Valkyrie, Awakening Guardian, and Suck Hash. I think Suck Striker belongs down there too, if I'm being honest. Although, like, I think Scholar belongs way down here too. Like, Scholar's Awakening Woosa is definitely better than that. And then I think Suck Guardian's actually not as bad either, but like it is kind of slow, but its AoE is really good. So like there's something to be said for that. There is no way. This is early game grinding. There is no way that Shai is the A tier for early game grinding. I believe that is wrong. I would challenge you to find me a Shai that thinks that grinding at like the desert spots or Polly's Forest or like any of those spots is like reasonable. The only spots that Shai actually is okay at is Miramuck Ruins, and it's still not as good as the other classes there because you still have to run to the next tree, and the second that you have to do that, it's immediately outshined by another class. And it doesn't have the AoE to be as good as like Awakening Witch or something. It's in the same tier as Awakening Witch. Like Awakening Witch can at least stand at the tree and just use abilities and never move, and then you can double TP to the next tree. Shai, it doesn't have the AoE. You're constantly trying to spin around, and then the mobility, I don't know. It's just not it. In the early game. Mid game. How did it go down? Mid game. Highest is Lahn, Suck, Archer, Awakening Nova, and Suck Maegu. I don't know how Suck Witch didn't make it into the S plus tier. All of the Suck Witches said that she was the best at basically every form of the game, like mid and late game for sure. I don't know how it possibly could not have made it into this tier. And then the worst classes are Suck Valkyrie, agree. Shai, agree. Scholar, disagree. I think Scholar should be above them, but like what it is, what it is. Mobility? No, mobility on Suck Witch is really solid. Especially into mid-game spots where you have to like stop and like DPS for a moment and then move to the next patch. You have split teleport up. You're constantly running, or like it's definitely got the mobility, bro. Solid, but not better than Archer or Lahn. Respectfully, Emperor, respectfully, Looney, who is literally the guy to reference on this, it's currently top tier PvE class overall. I strongly believe it deserves its own tier. It has the best clear speed in most spots, second only to Awakening Nova in some mid-game areas. Respectfully, and I have the same opinion. And so did Belly. And so did Misty. Like, respectfully, that is just incorrect. But like, it is what it is. The rest of these classes are relatively... How is Kuno not in the dog shit tier? It got really poor ratings across the board. Didn't Kuno get like really bad? Yeah, Kuno's like in the dumpster. Kuno is dog. Like, I'm just basing it off his own like numbering system. All right, that's fine. End game tier list. Let's see it. All right. Awakening Sorceress and Succession Witch do not pull the same trash numbers. There is no shot. Suck Lahn belongs in this. Suck Guardian, no way. Awakening Nova and Suck Witch, and then I think Awakening Wizard for sure belongs in this tier. I don't know how Awakening Wizard didn't make it into this tier, but he's in the next one, so that's fine. I think Awakening Witch being in this tier is fine too. The Suck Nova is literally in its own, like, you almost didn't see it down there. Like, oh, shit. And I don't know, like, where is Suck Nova? Why is Suck Nova not down here in these two? Like, Suck Nova should be in the bottom of every tier. Suck Nova, where is Suck Nova? Wait. He's got B tier for like an early game grunt. No shot. Like, I don't know how Suck Nova didn't. Like, Suck Nova belongs in this tier at every level. It is in the dumpster. Some dog poop you don't notice on the sidewalk. That's what I'm saying, though. It should be in that tier every time. I don't know. It's just strange. Let's see what he says at the end here. Oh, he just gave the same. It was the same thing. Okay, so big shout out to Kandaya for like getting all of these class leads and like actual relevant people on the game to comment on their class and give like their honest opinion about where their class kind of stacks up in PvE. I may not agree necessarily with some of it, but again, I'm not the master of every class, so like take what I say with a grain of salt. I will say that for the record, my opinion on every class was almost bang on. I would like give my thoughts and then they would say that in this like thing. I do disagree with some things, but usually I'm disagreeing with like some of the numbering, and then like the difficulty level is strange to me. Some of that is strange to me and I might disagree with them, and then like some of like the ordering here I can disagree with them on, but like overall this is the best tier list for PvE that we have that we see, period. No one else makes a more accurate and relevant PvE tier list than Kandaya. He's an absolute GOAT, and he deserves all the credit. Here's the video right here. Also, Berserker, yeah, Choice didn't get consulted for Berserker. Eat it. He probably, in fairness, he probably did reach out to J-Kun, he just didn't respond. He probably did reach out to Choice, he just didn't respond. Like he probably did reach out to these other leads, and they just didn't respond about it. You know what I mean? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. Choice opted out. Yeah, see, there you go. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Absolutely goated video there, for sure. A crazy amount of work went in this video. He deserves all the credit for it.